All right, programming for this week. Um, let's see. We'll start with the with Monday, and just remember I made a few notes under each item. So just to kind of remind you to what to talk about to each class. We'll do this for several more weeks, and then I'll probably stop making the notes. But I want all the coaches to still give the why behind what we do for each thing. So I'm just trying to get us all on the same page by giving these little notes of the why, and then in a few weeks I'll stop making those notes, and you can kind of give your own whys. Um, but so uh, Probably the easiest thing to do is just to listen to this screencast and then just look at that where I made the notes and like before you go to class, and it'll remind you of what I said in the screencast, because the notes that I have on here, I'm not going to give all the details of what I say here, but they're just meant to like jog your memory of what I said in the screencast. All right, so front squats, we're going to do 3 sets of 3 reps across. We've been doing back squats, 3 sets of 5, and front squat, 3 sets of 5. Now for the next week, we're going to do sets of 3. Um, Across means that they stay at the same weight for each set, and that's just a way to get in more volume at a heavier weight as opposed to going like a little bit lighter on that first set and increasing each time and going real heavy for the last set. And just remind them, we said this last week, remind them to bounce out of the bottom. So on these squats, we want them getting as low as they can, not just stopping at parallel. On the metabolic conditioning, you'll see this is all cardio movements. And this is the same thing we did on April 7th. So tell them to compare their times. Uh, Explain to them that the intent of this workout is to be like continuous movement. It's not weight bearing, so there's no weight to limit you. And go ahead and explain to them the 3 different modalities of used in CrossFit programming, the metabolic conditioning of cardio, gymnastics, and weightlifting, and then explain to them that this is just a metabolic conditioning workout. And then we'll finish with some 800-meter carries. This is to help their grip strength. Grip strength can overcome a lot of other weaknesses they may have. Say if a pull-up, say if their actual pulling motion is not as strong, grip strength can cover that up to some extent. On the snatches, we did sets of 3 on the snatch and clean and jerk, alternating weeks for several weeks. Now we're going to sets of 2. Today, take some time to explain to them what is accomplished by the different rep schemes. So, reps of 1 to 3 really increases your 1 rep max. Sets of 5 to 7 increase explosiveness and power, and sets of 8 to 15 are for muscle hypertrophy, and then above 15 you get into more muscular endurance. So if you weren't aware of that, maybe spend some time studying that and explain that to the class. And you can also look up the correct way to pronounce hypertrophy, because I don't think that's right, but that's how I've like always said it. That's just how I've read it. And sometimes I'll say it different, then I forget how I said it. Anyway, this cycle is to increase raw strength while maintaining lifts. Remember, the raw strength, we're considering that manhandling the weight, not necessarily form. But we do want to maintain our ollie lifts. Clean pull, same cues as last week. It is used to train the first pull, but some people may be like, I don't care about my first pull. Who cares about how I lift? Well, explain to them it also trains explosiveness. Probably everybody wants to get a little more explosive. Stay fast on all the reps. So I saw a few people getting a little too heavy. Their form was still good, they just weren't going fast enough. So 100% is probably good. That plus right there is may not be necessary. Uh, get them to get their knuckles under the bar. That's like a detail of lifting that they probably don't hear a lot of, because we're always focused on the bigger things, which is good, but every once in a while, go ahead and throw something in there that's a little more detailed. Um, 3 rounds, the squat cleans, push-ups, and run 400. The squat cleans here are not to get stronger. They're not even necessarily to practice the movement. This is the squat cleans are for conditioning. If you pick up a weight from the ground, catch it in a squat, and stand it up, that's pretty taxing. So the weight is meant to be light and is meant for conditioning work. 20 push-ups. Later in the week we're going to work 1 rep max on the press. Today we're pressing with the push-ups, but it's more for muscular endurance than run 400. And today explain to them the gymnastics and weightlifting modalities. Even if you did it yesterday, do it again today. Then accumulate 60 seconds of L-sits. Make sure you're making people have perfect form. I don't care if their heels are much lower than their butt. Make sure they have straight knees and everything is tight. Wednesday, this is the same thing we've done the last several Wednesdays, rope climbs and pistols. And whenever you give them a progression, explain why you're doing that progression. If you're making them hold a kettlebell for pistols, don't just say, oh, well, it makes it easier and it's a good way to get better at them. Like, why would you hold a kettlebell? Well, it's to balance. It's to better counterbalance that weight. It helps you. You can't lean forward because you don't have the flexibility. Well, this gives that weight out there. And so because you can't lean forward, you need to work on your flexibility. 400-meter sled pull, that works your anterior muscles, your quads, as opposed to, sorry, that's supposed to be all right, that was for backward sled pulls. Forget that first note. Time under tension. So time under tension is how long you're under a weight. Like when we do a back squat at maybe 4 seconds. Here, 400-meter sled pull takes 2 or 3 minutes. We want to get under that weight for that long. That's why we're trying to. That's why we're doing the sled pulls today. Increase that time under tension. 4 sets of 200-meter sprints. You're going to rest 3 minutes in between. Again, explain why sprints are beneficial. My explanation last week was fat loss and how that works. You can do anything you want though. After each sprint, have them go in and complete guys 15 and girls 10 strict pull-ups. Bench press, everybody's favorite. Alternating bench press and strict press each week. Kind of like with the back squats and front squats, we're going back and forth each week. Google Louis Simmons and Westside Barbell, and you should really he'll give you some really good cues to give on the bench press and tell some people those pointers. Then we have the 6-minute AMRAP. Take some time, if you haven't already done it, to research lactic threshold training. Explain to the class what that means and explain why this workout, or just explain to them that this is a lactic threshold workout. Trying to increase that lactic threshold. And then end with the ring dips and the L pull-ups. You know what? Now that I'm noticing this, we're not going to do the L pull-ups today. We're going to do ring dips and a 45-second hollow hold. Ring dips can be stationary. You can set up 2 boxes and put dumbbells on top of the boxes. Deadlift, 3 sets of 5 across, 5 to 10 pounds heavier than the last time we did deadlifts with 5 reps just a few weeks ago. I'll have that date put in there. This is old. This is not a deload week. Yeah, these are all notes. So none of those notes are applicable. But now you can explain to them we are starting a new cycle of deadlifts now. Basically a new cycle. I mean, it's still within that overall cycle. But we went 3 weeks hard, deloaded. Now we're going another 3 weeks hard. This is going to be a tough workout. 5 rounds for time of thrusters and double unders. Thrusters are high rep squats. So last week we did pistols for high reps. Now we're doing thrusters for high rep squats. We do a max effort on Monday of squats, and then on Friday we do repetition work. If you want to look a little more into that, whenever you're Googling Louis Simmons and Westside Barbell, you can look at their programming, and like Google Louis Simmons high reps, and it'll give you some more information on that. Or Louis Simmons repetition workouts. Saturday, power snatch. We're doing the power versions because it promotes speed and quickness and explosiveness. You really got to be powerful to pull that bar all the way up. Then we're going to finish with some running kettlebell swings and core work. All right, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.